Hey traders, John Howell here. Today in this video, I want to talk to you about two different things. One, I think there's a really good opportunity that's happening with the markets right now as the Fed starts to get ready to possibly pause. And then we know what happens after pausing, right? They're going to pivot. They're probably going to start to cut rates. Now, this is probably for the next, say, 2 years. And then also I want to show you something that's happening with the, obviously, and how the Fed pivots, but then also an opportunity we can take to actually benefit from that moving forward from now through the next couple of years as that cycle starts to play itself out. And then also what I want to share with you is I want to share with you why the gold mining sector or the mining sector in general is creating a pivot shift right now that we have not seen in probably 4 or 5 years. And we're starting to see that shift right now. And the charts are really screaming out to me. So I want to share that with you. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, if you haven't done so yet, I'm giving away free membership access. See that trading course there? I'm giving away free membership access. Go get access to that right now. So let's actually start off with the good old the Fed and the pivot and all that sort of stuff. So if I bring up the interest rates, okay. So if I bring up the interest rates, let me bring up say just the 10-year here for a minute. Now we know the Fed is going to start to pause, pivot, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, we know that that's coming down the road. You know when we talk about their interest rates, but we also do know right that we're leading into some sort of recession. We do know that. Now, what generally happens when recessions happen? What generally happens, right? The Fed starts to slow down, they start to drop rates, and they start to really ramp up what? QE. When that process happens, what happens to long-term rates? Now, I'm looking at the 10-year or actually this is the 30-year here. Yeah, this is the 30-year. This is the 10-year, right? This is the 10-year. So what tends to happen to interest rates? The long-term interest rates start to come down, right? Well, they're actually already starting to come down right now. As you can see, we're in this sort of maybe channel here on the 10-year interest rate, and we're already starting to see a movement down. So from the highs, we're already starting to see this movement down of around, say, 24%, right, on the 10-year, and we're already starting to see that shift and that pivot happening in the long-term rates. And we know that the Fed is also getting ready for that as well too. So we know over the next couple of years that there's going to be a time when the Fed definitely starts to cut and the QE comes out. And with that QE, they're going to really, really push those long-term rates down. Why? Because they're trying to jumpstart the economy once again, right? We all know that that's coming. So the question is, as we're going through the markets, how can we actually play that? How can we actually position ourselves for that to do really well from that? And the answer is that, well, if interest rates go down, what is likely to go up, right? TLT, right? The 20-year and possibly even a market called TMF. So, and TMF here. So if we're looking at this here, right? If we're looking at this here and we're positioning ourselves and we're in this here, then I do honestly see, there's obviously no guarantees of this happening, but I do honestly see there's a really good opportunity for the next, say, from now through to say the end of next year, I would say the next 2 years. I really see a really good opportunity to benefit and do quite well financially as this cycle and this whole what we call the next couple of year cycle starts to shift and take place. Does that make sense? So as those rates start to come down over the next couple of years, and they're possibly, and when I say the next couple of years, they're possibly already happening right now, right? The slow process might be happening right now. And that's where, for me personally, I'm invested and have been invested for quite some time in the TMF market. The TMF, the TLT, the TMF is just 3 times leveraged. So I'm actually in the TMF market myself. Makes sense? And so with all that being said, with everything that I just said there, that as these interest rates start to come down, we could potentially see this TMF market start to have a move back up. And I would say possibly, and depending on how far the Fed pushes it, but this TMF might end up back at 30. It might end up back at 45, depending on how bad it goes, right? So that's that there. And then also the TLT market, you can see here, it's around 108. Then you possibly can see a move back up towards the 150 level. Does that make sense? So this is one position that I'm personally in right now. And it's not a, well, I hope it goes up tomorrow and that sort of stuff, right? That's more like a trading wise. What I'm looking at that with that is just, it's just being smart. I'm not guessing here. I just see the cycles that's going to come over the next couple of years. Like we know what I just said there, we know that's coming. We just don't know how it's going to form. Is it going to be the next 6 months? Is it going to be next year that all this really starts to take place? Is it going to be the end of next year that all this really starts to take? Like we just don't know, right? But we do know it is going to happen. We just don't know how. Is it going to be sooner or it's going to be later? We just don't know how this is going to shift and perform. And so places like TMF and so on and so forth, we just don't know how that's going to happen. So I'm just in it. And then as these cycles start to accumulate and do their thing over the next couple of years, we're likely to see this movement back to the upside. Does that make sense? So I hope that sort of gives you an idea of what I'm looking at there. Again, there's no guarantees of this thing. TMF could end up back down at $5. So I'm not trying to pick a bottom with TMF. It's just a buy and hold, and I've been buying and holding this for quite some time. So that's the first thing I do say there. But before I actually get into the metals about this shift that I'm actually starting to see in the actual chart itself as well too, which giving us a big clue about what's potentially coming, is that, guys, I've opened up a few spots to my coaching program. If you do need some help with your trading right now, guys, if you're losing a lot of money, and you're struggling right now, you're probably thinking about trading the wrong way. You're probably over trading right now. You probably don't even have a good trading strategy. You probably have no scanning process of how to find the really good trades. Your mindset is probably way off. You have no accountability partner there, and you really need a mentor to show you exactly what to do, and not only show you what to do, but for me, my program is all about me showing you what I'm actually doing every day. How do I handle the times when there's no trades, of being patient? How do I handle the discipline? What sort of trades do I look for, and so on and so forth. So if you're looking for some mentoring and coaching, I've opened up some spots to my coaching program. So this is what I want you to do right now. There should be a link in the description there, or go to getjohnshelp.com, Johns help.com. Go over there right now. There's going to be an application form there. Fill out the application form. You will then be booked to talk with me personally. As soon as you fill out that application form, on the very next page, you're going to get access to a free trading course, and that's going to get you started straight away on the biggest mistakes you're making right now. It's also going to get straight away of the system that I use, chart reading techniques, and so on and so forth, to really start to help you move forward in a big way. So this is what I want you to do right now. Go to getjohnshelp.com. Go fill out the application form, book a time with me right now, and then as a bit of a thank you for even just booking a spot, I'm going to give you access to my breakthrough trading course as well too, for free. So let's actually get into the mining sector right now, and the big shift that I was actually talking about with the mining sector. Let's actually start out with the GDX. So the big shift that I'm actually noticing with the GDX is this. Let's bring up the weekly charts here. Now, you'll notice that this is sort of like history repeating itself. Let me explain what I mean here. When the market talks to us, okay, and when we're in a bit of a downward trend, sometimes we get this sort of stuff, right? We get a bit of a downward trend, right? We get these movements down. Or in a downward trend, we get these lower highs, lower lows, right? We start to get a really nice downward trend from here. But then what tends to happen, and what can happen, is that we start to run up, we make a higher high, we come down, we make a high low, and then we actually start to break up into what? Now a new upward trend, right? This is the point in time when we start to change the tune of the entire market from a downtrend to an uptrend, right? Downtrend to an uptrend. So when we're looking at that, okay, and we're looking at the actual markets, look at this through here, right? This is history repeating itself again. Notice back here, notice how, if you look back here, look at this here. High, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We had, what do we have? We had one flush down. It came up, created a sort of an equal high, higher low, and then we started what? Then we started a pretty much an overall move up. Notice this higher low breaking past previous highs here. And I know this sounds simplistic, guys, but the charts do the talking, right? The charts really do talk to us. So it was this point here, as you can see, that what? We started to shift to the upside. What is happening right now, right? We went through a period of no one in control, right? Low, no one really in control. We had a shift down, shift back up. We then came back down, and now look what's happening right now. We're shifting back up. What is this here right now? It's a game changer. This is the very first this was the very first time we had a higher low breaking past previous highs. This is the very first time we've had a higher low breaking past previous highs. So that tells me that this is a complete game changer right now for the gold mining sector. And even if we look at the actual GDXJ as well too, the same sort of situation that's happening, right? If I open up my charts a bit more, you'll be able to see it. But look at this here, low, very first high low, and almost breaking past. Or actually, I think it's just done it, just slightly there. So it doesn't mean that this is going to explode to the upside, right? Or go really big move to the upside. But what that does tell me is, if I zoom in on this one, what that does tell me now is that there's a high probability that we may continue up from here, but then we're probably going to get a pullback, and we're going to continue up and we're going to pull back. I believe this is the whole starting and the whole shift of a new really good upward trend, which I believe is going to end in a super cycle in the gold mining sector.